What's going on, guys? It's Nate Dog! And today, I bring you my Warden tank for the Elder Scrolls Online Markarth patch, the Paladin of Kyne. This Warden tank is set up to help out newer players or people who want to play the role of a tank, with several crowd control abilities, several buffs to give to allies that also apply to the build, and still have good survivability. So if you would like to learn more about the build, I will be going over stats, skills, passives, gear I am running, and champion points on the build. This is all coming up next. So let's get started in the character sheet. First of all, we're going to buff up our guy with health a little bit here. So starting over in our character sheet here on our front bar, our max magicka is sitting at 19,300 with max health at 45,300, max stam at 23,900. On the back bar, everything else will stay the same here. Now for recovery wise, here we are going to buff up the guy. For magicka recovery, we have 1,500 with health recovery sitting at 600, stam recovery at 1,300. On our back bar here, our magicka recovery is at 1,600 with health recovery at 600 with stam recovery at 1,300, almost at 1,400 there. Let's see, here it is again. Now for spell damage and weapon damage, we can actually buff this up a little bit further now. Our spell damage can go up to 1,500 with spell critical sitting at 13%, with weapon damage at 1,500 with a weapon critical at 14.4%. This will be on both bars as well here. Now for resistance wise, on our front bar, our spell resistance is sitting at 29,400 with physical resistance at 30,500. On our back bar, our resistance actually goes up to spell resistance at 30,200, physical resistance at 31,300. Critical resistance is sitting at 1,300. This is now a base thing that every character gets in the base build. We are not focused on this for PVE content, for player versus environment. If we were doing PvP, then yes, we'd probably want our critical resistance higher. So this is not needed. It's just letting you know that everybody will get that as a base stat now. Attributes here, we have 64 points into health. The reason behind this is because a couple of my guilds require us tanks to have at least 40,000 health in order to run trials in the guild, so that is why my health is sitting at roughly 40,000 health. You, though, however, do not need to have 40,000 health. If you prefer to have more of what is recommended of like 36,000 health, then just go by force, go and do that, and then put more attributes into magicka and stam wherever you see fit. Magicka if you want to be able to buff yourself more often and cast stuff. Stam if you want to be able to hold block and use your stam based abilities longer. Right there, the choices are yours. For the boon we are running the Lord just to get my max health up to that 40k that I like. You, however, like I said, do not need to do this. If you want to do a boon that gives you actually more recovery in magicka, you can. Stam recovery, this one I would recommend if you are a tank that does not hold block a lot often, because as a tank, if you hold block, what happens is you actually gain no recovery. As you can see there, I'm sitting at 22k, and it's not going up for as long as I'm holding block. I let go of block, and now I can get recovery back. Hold it again, it stops. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to use stam recovery boon, make sure that you're a person that does not hold block too often. So going over into skills, starting in our front bar, first skill we have is Down in the Winter's Embrace skill line. It is the second ability to unlock. Starts off as Impaling Shard. You then morph it to Gripping Shards. Now with Gripping Shards here, this is to help us with soft CCs or soft crowd control. This will allow us to control where the enemies are placed when we are fighting them. This one particular is an immobilization one. This one will immobilize them for 3 seconds, and it will also deal some damage every 1 second for 12 seconds. This is also to enemies that are hit with it. This will reduce their movement speed by 30% for the 3 seconds also. This has a 6-meter radius, so it looks something like this when you cast it on the ground. So on your initial cast here, enemies that have not been immobilized recently can get immobilized within this area. On top of it, they will get damaged within this and have their speed reduced by 30% for 3 seconds when they get hit with it. Now, a nice also thing about this ability is this is based off of our health, which it happens to be our highest stat that we have. So more health you have, the more damage you're actually going to do with this. But as a tank, we don't really worry about damage. But a nice thing too is we can also apply the chilled status effect on this, which is kind of nice. Now going over to our next ability we have is down in the one-handed shield skill line. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as low slash. We then morph it to deep slash. Now I went with deep slash here over heroic slash because I wanted to reduce movement speed of every enemy within the 6 meters of the target we hit by 40%. Is what this does. Actually, it's 30%. My bad. It's 30% for 4 seconds. Now, this also applies another CC, is what a reduced movement speed is. It's another soft CC or crowd control here. A very nice thing about this is it also afflicts enemies that we hit with it, minor main, reducing the damage down by 5% for 12 seconds. Now, if you want to change out a monster helm that I'm wearing compared to, let's say, third raccoons that can apply the minor main, then heroic slash here would be then a better skill for you. Now, going over into the next ability we have is down into the Undaunted Fighters Guild skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Silver Bolt. We then morph it to Silver Leash. Silver Leash here is a hard crowd control ability that pulls enemy to us. Now, I went with Silver Leash over, let's say, my class ability Frozen Gate, which is all the way up into the Winter's Embrace skill line right here. Now, the reason I went with the Silver Leash over Frozen Gate is due to the fact that Silver Leash, the speed of it is way better over Frozen Gate. Because Frozen Gate takes about, it takes about 2 seconds to arm. Yes, it has a 30-second last time, but if you're not, if you're not good at aiming ahead of an enemy, then this is going to be really hard to actually catch them with Frozen Gate. If you're good at it, then by all means go with Frozen Gate, but if you're not, this is why I prefer Silver Leash better, because it's a lot quicker. You can pull them right to you, and you don't have to do it. Yes, when you pull them here, yes, with Frozen Gate, you get an immobilization thing. And yes, you can activate 3 of them. But like I said, if you cast it and you cast right on them, chances are you're not going to end up pulling them to you. So right there, now you just waste some magicka doing that. Well, Silver Leash, yes, if they already been hard CC'd, you cannot pull them. But I'd rather waste stam than magicka because I'm running a one-handed and shield skill line. I'm running a stam weapon so I can heavy attack, get stam back with it. Now, so next ability we have is also back down into that Fighters Guild ability, skill line I should say. It is the second ability to unlock, starts off as Circle of Protection. We then morph it to Turn Evil. Now Turn Evil here is also a hard CC like Silver Leash that I was saying. Thing with hard CCs is that you cannot stack them like I was saying earlier. So if you, let's say we use Turn Evil, and let's say they get feared for 5 seconds, they run out of the area, and we try to use Silver Leash on them to pull them, chances are we're not going to be able to pull them because there's a cooldown on hard CCs as well. So just keep that in mind. You cannot use this and then pull someone in. You can, however, use this and then pull a ranged target into the area of effect, which I tend to do a lot with this ability. So now, why do I use Turn Evil? The reason I use Turn Evil is for multiple reasons. We can give buffs to other members in the group, like we increase the stam recovery by 20%, we reduce the damage taken by 5% for us, and on top of it, upon activation, enemies are feared for 5 seconds. Currently, it's at 4 for me just because it's not ranked 4 yet, it's only a ranked 3. This is why I like to use it, because you're giving allies stuff where they take less damage, and increasing stam recovery as well for you. Okay, over into the next ability we have is all the way up into the one-handed shield skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, starts off as Puncture. I morph it to Pierce Armor. With Pierce Armor, this becomes our main taunt that we want to use in the game. This will keep a person focused on us for 15 seconds. Now, we want to make sure to not let this taunt fall off. If they are not taunted on us, they will end up attacking an ally, and we don't want that to happen. Your main job as a tank is always to keep the taunt on the heavier enemies. So, what do you focus? Basically, what you want to focus are the people who are going to deal the most mass amount of damage, like bosses, bigger adds, and typically your two-handed weapon adds are typically the ones that you want to taunt with this. Now, the main thing about this ability, why I like it so much, especially this more particular, this one applies Minor Breach and Major Breach, which lowers enemies' resistance roughly about 9,000. In PVE, everything in a dungeon, arenas, and trials have only 18,200 resistance, both in physical and spell. The lower we get that resistance down, the stronger our allies will hit, making our job a lot easier to make fights last way shorter. Now, just keep in mind, lowering physical is for stand-based damage dealers. By lowering spell resistance, it is for magicka-based damage dealers. So keep that in mind, what lowers what. So if your group is more spell damage thing, you want to really try to get more spell resistance on your build. If it's more physical resistance, if it's more stand-based, then you want to try to lower more physical resistance as much on your build. This will help you out. Okay, for our ultimate here, we are up into the green balance skill line. With Secluded Grove, we morphed it to Enchanted Growth. Now, for Enchanted Forest, I should say, Enchanted Forest here is mostly here for passive reasons that I'll be going into later, but it also benefits us as well. This can be a heal to use on allies that will heal in an area. Pretty good healing there that we have. 18,000 health every 1 second for 6 seconds, or 1,800 I should say, excuse me. But what it is we can also generate 20 ultimate if the initial heal is used on a friendly target under 50% health. So it's, if we use it on somebody who's under 50% health, we'll get 20 ultimate back for this ability with only a 90 ultimate cost. However, I do understand if you don't want to use something like Enchanted Growth, even if I tell you for passive reasons why I put it here. Other good ones would be down in Winter's Brace, we got Sleet Storm. I would morph it to Permafrost. This is another strong, soft CC, which reduces movement speed by 40%, as you can see here. On top of it, it will grant major protection, reducing damage taken by 10% for allies within the area, but with Permafrost, it actually reduces the movement speed of enemies by 70% in there. On top of it, it does deal some damage that can apply this chilled status effect as well within that area. Now, if you don't like Sleet Storm, and you know you're having troubles with maybe blocking or need some help with it because you're running out of stand resources, then the next one I would probably go down to is down in the one-handed shield skill line. It starts off as Shield Wall. I would personally go morph it to Spell Wall. This will allow us to block everything, including projectiles, for 8 seconds. If you really want to, you could use the other morph, which, you know, that one reduces the cost of your one-handed abilities for free for the 8 seconds, but I kind of like both projectiles and melee weapon hitters because I can't tell you how much it has protected me on my Paladin and Vakatosh build. If you haven't seen that one, you can go look at that one too, of why I use that one. Now, we're going to go over into our back bar, starting with our first ability we have here is up in the green balance skill line. It is the first ability to unlock, start off as Fungal Growth. We then morph it to Enchanted Growth. Enchanted Growth allows us to buff us and allies with magicka and stand recovery by 20%. We're not really looking at the heal here. We're looking at that it gives magicka and stand recovery by 20%. Now, how do we use this? Basically, if we go into a fight and we turn a boss around with the ally standing on the backside of him, the chances are we're actually going to hit them with this ability since it's a cone shape. So it's what a cone shape means is starting at our point going into a cone shape for those of you. Out 20 meters this will reach. So the further out this thing goes, the wider this thing will get. So It just gets bigger the further out it goes, and yes, it has a high magicka cost, but with passives that you get with the green balance skill line, I felt like it was well worth it. If you don't want it, don't use it. Use something else that you can prefer. There's a ton of other skills that you can use. If you want healing seeds, you can. Lotus flower. You can even go into animal companion if you want to use it more animal companion skill lines for a little bit more damage. Or if you even want Winter's Embrace and just help shield yourself up, go ahead and shield yourself up. Choices there are yours. Now, next ability we have is in the animal companion skill line. It is the fourth ability to unlock. Starts off as Betty Netch. We then morph it to Bull Netch. With Bull Netch, we're not looking at the major sorcery or the major brutality that we get with this. What we are looking at basically is that this helps us get stam over 25 seconds. We restore 4,992 stam. Basically 5,000 stam over 25 seconds. So it's a little bit that we get back, but in the long run, this will help us when we're holding block, because this will come up. So we'll roll dodge here, I'll hold block. Now if I cast this ability at no cost to us, that's the nice thing is you'll see my stam now slowly go up. Even though I'm holding block, I'm not actually supposed to be getting stam, but I get stam back because the Bull Netch gives us stam even if we're holding block. That is why I like using the Bull Netch on it. On top of it, every 5 seconds the Netch removes one negative effect from us. So basically we can cast this for free, no cost to us at all, and it's like a free cleanse on our bar that we have. Just remember, keep it up for 5 seconds at least, so that way we can remove that negative effect on us. But you also need to keep them up more to get stam back over the 25 seconds. Going into our next ability we have is down in the Winter Embrace skill line. It is the third ability to unlock. Starts off as Arctic Wind. We then morph it to Polar Wind. This is our O snap heal if we're about to die button, with which it has a very strong initial heal and then a heal over time effect for 5 seconds. So our heal here is 13,000 health with the heal over time for the 5 seconds. On top of it, this can also heal an ally within 12 meters for a good chunk of change. Also the 13,000 health here. Also, it does deal damage. While it persists for the 5 seconds, it will deal some damage to enemies that are near us. But the nice thing about this whole thing is the healing on this is all based off of our max health. So the higher our health is, the more healing potential we actually have with this to heal ourselves and our allies outside or within the 12-meter radius as well. Next ability we have is still in the Winter's skill Embrace line, or in Winter's Embrace skill line. It is the first ability to unlock. It starts off as Frost Cloak. We then morph it to Expansive Frost Cloak. So I like Expansive Frost Cloak since this allows us to buff us and our allies within 28 meters for about 6,000 resistance. Now, I know some people out there may say, I should have really gone with the other morph on this one, but for me, it makes our squishy DPS have a little more resistance. So, essentially, it kind of makes them kind of like a tank DPS hybrid a little bit. Now, it's not saying that, oh, they can sit there and block a heavy attack from a boss or like people that can one-shot because their resistance is a little higher. No, it just makes them a little bit more survivable to potential of harm. So let's say if they take 6,000 damage from this normal attack, we apply this, they may be down to like, instead of taking 6,000 damage, they might only now take like 5,200 damage from it by just giving them a little bit more resistance. Especially if they don't have someone in their skill line that gives them a major result, we're going to increase their resistance a little bit for that. So, next ability we have is Inner Beast, all the way down into the Undaunted skill line. It is the third ability to unlock. Starts off as Inner Fire. We then morph it to Inner Beast. This will help us keep ranged targets focused on us. It also helps us get targets focused back on us when we lose taunt and they move away from us. So this is what we'll mostly use it for. On top of it, range ally has a 50 you know, we have a 50% chance to apply a synergy for our ranged allies to hit the target with some damage. It's not too much damage for us really because we're not really set up for damage wise, but passively for, you know, for passive reasons, it does benefit the person who uses the synergize. Yes, we also get an increase. We do more 5% more damage from our attacks to the person while the effects persist for 15 seconds. But like I said, as a tank, we're not really focused on the damage. But it's just, you know, we use it for a little flavor here and help get taunt back onto us. Now, for ultimate here, we are down into the assault skill line. We have Warhorn that we morph to aggressive Warhorn. Warhorn here helps us out with burning down bosses in fights with a 10% increase to Stam and Magicka for 30 seconds. Now, why is this important? Because we're increasing the pool not just for ourselves, but for our allies as well within 20 meters. So that's giving both Magicka and Stam. So for Stam base, they're going to have more damage that they can do because they got a bigger Stam pool, and same with Magicka. Also for healers as well, they have now more Magicka in their utilities to keep allies alive and also buff them. Now, as us tanks here, it's to basically help us be able to do more of our buffing and debuffing on people and being able to hold block and things like that a lot longer. On top of it, we also give everyone a 20% more critical damage done for the first 10 seconds this thing is up. So, typically, we try to utilize this ultimate on a boss when they're at like 25% just to kind of like get him in that execute range so we can burn him down really fast. But, you know, I've seen some people call it right off the bat. I've seen people call it at 80%. You know, wherever you feel like you need to call this, at the end of the day, that choice is yours where you use this. So, now that's out of the way. Let's go over our passives and all these skills. Starting all the way at the top here, Animal Companion. First one we have here is Bond with Nature. Anytime one of our Animal Companion skill ends, we are healed for 1,400 health. So that's even our Bull Netch. So right here, we can sit here and cast, and we'll actually get health. Look at there, 1,700 health. At no cost, so we can pretty much just keep tapping this and getting ourselves healed. We have Savage Beast. When we cast an Animal Companion ability while we are in combat, we generate full ultimate. This effect occurs once every 8 seconds. So, yes, we can cast our Bull Netch every 8 seconds if we really want to, but however, we really should not be sitting there and casting them every 8 seconds because we then will not really benefit from restoring our Stam here. Yes, we may benefit from removing one negative effect, but if you just leave them on, you're going to keep removing a negative effect anyways. Next, we have Flourish. This increases our Magicka and Stam recovery by 12% if an Animal Companion ability is slotted. So we get 12% here, and we have none on our front bar. Advanced Species here increases the damage done by 2% for each Animal Companion ability slotted. We have 1, so we get 2, and on our front we have none. Over in the green balance, starting with our first passive, we have Accelerated Growth. When you heal yourself or an ally under 40% health with a green balance ability, we gain major mending, increasing our healing done by 16% for 3 seconds. So, yes, we end up healing. We could potentially heal ourselves to lower our health, the stronger our heal is actually going to be, because we're going to get that major mending for 3 seconds on top of that. And we can also heal pretty good on our allies as well. Granted, we're not set up to really do bunch healing, but it definitely helps us out with other passives that we have here, because with Nature's Gift, when we heal an ally with a green balance ability, we gain 250 Magicka or 250 Stam, whichever resource pool is lower. This effect can occur once every 1 second. So yes, even with our Enchanted Growth here, or even Enchanted Forest, we could get resources back with it. So nice to keep up our resources. Emerald Moss, this increases our healing done with green balance ability by 2% for each green balance ability slotted. We have our Enchanted Forest on the front bar, and on our back bar we have our Enchanted Growth. So our 2% does not fall off. That is why I run it the way I do. That's why my bar is set up the way it is. Maturation. Here, when we activate a heal on ourselves or an ally, we grant the target minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10% for 20 seconds. So, by just applying this, or even our Winter's Embrace here, this is a heal. This can heal an ally. This will give us minor toughness and can give it to an ally as well. So that is why it's very important to also get this passive for multiple other reasons besides it being in the green balance skill line. Over into Winter's Embrace. First passive we have here is Glacier Presence. This increases the chance to apply the chill on enemies with Winter Embrace abilities by 200%. So basically our Polar Winds here can apply it. Our Gripping Shards can apply that a lot easier. Enemies and allies who have been recently chilled take 10% more critical damage and healing from us. So allies get the 10% healing from us, and enemies take a 10% more critical damage whenever they've recently been chilled. So very nice to help with DPS there. Frozen Armor. This increases our physical and spell resistance by 500 for each Winter's Embrace ability slot. We get 500 here on the front bar, and we get 1,000 on our back bar. Icy Aura reduces the effectiveness of snares applied to us by 15%. This is kind of nice just to, as a tank, to reduce, so that way we don't have so hard of CCs that we got to break out of. Piercing Cold. This increases our Magicka and Frost damage by 10%. So just a little flavor there, just to help out with some damage a bit. Over into the One-Handed Shield skill line. First passive we have is Fortress. This reduces the stamp cost of our One-Handed Shield abilities by 15% and reduces the cost of blocking by 36%. Sword and Board increases our weapon damage by 5% and the amount of damage we can block by 20%. Yes, this 20% does stack on other abilities. Let's say down here where Deflective Bolt is reduced. The amount of damage we can block from projectiles in range attack by 14 is technically 34%. Deadly Bash here, this improves our standard bash attacks, causing them to deal 1,500 more damage and cost 40% less stam when we use it. Battlefield Mobility, this reduces our movement speed penalty of bracing by 36%. So we can move a little bit faster if we tend to hold block a lot. Now down into Light Armor skill line. Yes, I don't have these up all the way, but however, these are passives that you still want to use since we are only need the top 3 in the Light Armor, with Grace being our first one. Reduce the effectiveness of snares applied to us by 4%, and we reduce the cost of sprint by 3%. Advocate here increases our Magicka recovery by 4% and reduces the Magicka cost of our abilities by 2%. Spell Warding, increasing our spell resistance by 363. We do not need the bottom 2 here because these are when we're equipping 5 or more pieces of light armor. We are equipping 5 pieces of heavy armor, 1 piece of medium, and 1 piece of light. So we are running a 5-1-1 ratio here. Now into medium armor, we have 3 points into dexterity. This increases our weapon critical rating by 328. With Windwalker here, this increases our stam recovery by 4% and reduces the stam cost of our abilities by 2%. Athletics, I only got 1 point here, but I will want to put another point here when it hits level 50, because this will increase the movement speed bonus of sprint by 3% and reduce the cost of roll dodge by 4%, which as a tank you do move a lot, and a lot of times people like to sprint in the dungeon, so this helps you move a little bit quicker and reduce cost by the light armor, and you tend to do roll dodging on boss fights, especially if you're out of stam but have enough to do a roll dodge with. Now into heavy armor, we have Resolve here. This increases our physical and spell resistance by 1,800. Constitution increases our health recovery by 20%. On top of it, we restore 541 Magicka and stam when we take damage for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Actually, it's 108, but I just said the total there. So, Juggernaut, this increases our max health by 10%. Retelevise, this increases our Magicka and stam of our heavy attack sword by 25%. So basically, our stam, because we only have one-handed shield weapons on. Rapid Mending here increases our healing received by 8%. Soul Magic, if you get your Soul Magic up, I would suggest getting Soul Summon, because this all the way up will allow us to revive once every hour without spending a Soul Gem, which is really nice to save us on Soul Gems so we can use it to re-enchant our weapons or power our weapons up and stuff. Fighter's Guild here, we have Intimidating Presence. This will help reduce the cost of stam to our Fighter's Guild abilities by 15%. I would get Slayer because we do have Fighter Guild ability slotted here, so this will increase our weapon damage by 2%. Actually, it'll go up a lot higher. It'll actually go a total of 6% when it's all the way leveled up. Banish of the Wicked, this one I would also get because we can generate up to 9 ultimate when it's all the way leveled up. When we kill undead, Daedra, and werewolves, and you fight a lot of those in PVE content. Mage's Guild, I just have Persuasive Will here just for questing purposes only. Undaunted, very important passive. We have Undaunted Command. Activating a synergy restores 4% of our max health, stam, and magicka, which we get 1,800 health back, 957 stam, and 775 magicka. This is why it's very important when I said when we use our inner beast that if a ranged ally uses synergy, it's not mostly for us to do damage, it's actually to give our allies something to synergize off of. Undaunted Metal here increases our max health, stam, and magicka by 2% per type of armor wearing. We're at least wearing 1 heavy, 1 medium, and 1 light, so we get a 6% bonus here. Now, for race, I am running a Nord. Do you have to run a Nord on this build? No. However, if you do not run a Nord and run it the way I exactly run it, yes, you will get a different outcome coming to stats, to other things that compared to what a Nord gets. Yes, you can run an Imperial, you can run a Gornian, you can run whatever race you desire. Just keep in mind things will change compared to what I have. Because the Nord gives us a resistance to frost, increasing our max health by 1,000 and cold resistance by 2,300. We also gain immunity to the chilled status effect. Stalwart, this increases our max stam by 1,500, and when we take damage, we also gain 5 ultimate, and this effect can occur once every 10 seconds, so we gain a little bit ultimate whenever we take damage. Rugged, this increases our physical and spell resistance by 3,900, so if you do not want resistance, then Nord maybe is not the way you want to. If you especially want more stam and more health, then probably Imperial is going to be a lot better for you. So just keep in mind though, I do get physical and spell resistance, so my physical and spell resistance will be higher if you pick a different race. On top of it, for Reliever, this also increases the duration of any consumed drink by 15 minutes. However, we are not running any drink, so this does not help us at all. For crafting, the most important passive in the game is medicinal use. When we use a potion, effects last 30% longer. At base, your potions last you only 36 seconds. The effects that they give you only last 36 seconds with a 45-second cooldown. So, when that happens is you got to wait 45 seconds in order to use your potion, so you got like a 9-second somewhat cooldown in order to use your potion again. So 9 seconds you don't get the benefits that the potion gives you. So that's why you want medicinal use, so that way you basically have a 100% uptime with it. Now down into provisioning, I am using passive Gourmet because this adds 20 minutes to the duration of any eaten food, because I'm using a food in this one. If you're using a drink, you use Consier because this would add 15 minutes to the or 20 minutes to the duration of any consumed drink if you were running a drink. On top of it, with being a Nord, it'd actually be basically closer to 3 hours your food would or your drink would last being a Nord. Now going over into the stuff I'm running, starting with slottable items. The food I am running is the Crown Fortified Meal. It doesn't have to be the Crown Fortified Meal. It can be a long fin pasty with melon sauce, but I just have a ton of Crown Fortified Meal from daily login, so this will increase our max health by 4,400, max stam by 4,100, and also our max stam by 4,100. Like I said earlier, if you don't want your health at 40,000 health, you don't have to, and you want to get more of your other resources up like Magic and Stam, good choices here would be either Grapes of Ash Yam Fillet. This will increase your max Magic and Stam by 4,900. This is only for an hour though, so keep that in mind. So your better option here would be Mud Ball, because this gives you the same amount, but this one lasts for 2 hours. So this would be a lot better. Now, if you really want to go expensive and go up a lot higher, you can then go to Bewitched Sugar Skulls, because this will give you more max health by. This would increase your max health by 4,600, max stamina and magicka by 2,000 or 4,200, And this will also give you a 462 health recovery for 2 hours if you want to go the more expensive route with the Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Now for potions I am running on this build, I'm running Crown Tri Restoration potions. You can also use Essence of Health with Tri Effect. The reason you want to use Tri Effect because as a tank, you tend to use your health is for taking the damage. You use Magicka on this build for health recovery, buffing yourself up, and Stam is for blocking and applying Stam damage like your taunts. So whenever you use this potion, this one will grant you Major Fortitude, Major Intellect, and Major Endurance, which increases your health, Magicka, and Stam recovery by 40% for 47 seconds with a 45-second cooldown. This is where I was talking about medicinal use being very, very important here. Now, going over into the gear, starting on our front bar, I am running the Shackle Breaker set with the Encrusher enchantment to reduce the target's physical and spell resistance by 749 for 5 seconds with Decisive. So when we gain ultimate, we have a 25.4% chance to gain 1 additional ultimate. You can go Infuse here, you can go you could go Defending if you wanted to give yourself a little bit more defensive thing. Choices here are yours. I just like Decisive because building ultimate is very important. That way we can send a little bit more Warhorns, we can send out more Enchanted Forces. If we need to do that, we can, because we are gaining 1 additional we have a chance to gain 1 more additional ultimate whenever we do that. We're getting ultimate by dealing damage, we're getting ultimate by taking damage, and now here, and that's why I like Decisive. Now, a Shackle Breaker set. This gives us 124 Stam recovery, 124 Magicka recovery, and 124 weapon and spell damage, so we get a little bit more damage done with this set. On top of it, I really like the set because it's adding 1,900 max Stam and Magicka. If this was gold quality, it would actually be 2,000 Magicka and Stam with 129 weapon and spell damage and 129 Magicka and Stam recovery. This is why I like it. Do you have to run this? No, you don't have to. If you're somebody who tends to hold block a lot and Stam's not going to be your friend on that, then I would go with something that's going to reduce, like the Seducer set. To reduce that Magicka, to increase the amount of Magicka you have, reduce your Magicka ability cost so that way you don't have to worry so much about Magicka. Or go with sets that increase the amount of Stam you have to make you block longer, is what I would go with for sets. With the shield here, we went max Stam enchantment with sturdy trait just to reduce the cost of blocking, because reduced cost blocking helps us have our Stam pool a lot higher more often because we're not losing so much from blocking. Now on our back bar, we went with the weakening enchantment on this to reduce the target's weapon damage and spell damage by 160 for 5 seconds whenever it procs, just to help us become a little bit more tankier and not hurt our DPS as well. We went with the power trait, increasing our healing done by 4% because a lot of our self-heals are on our back bar, and that's why we went powered with this one. You do not have to. You can do defending. Like I said, if you want to, since this is our main defensive bar, you can. Now, we went with max Stam enchantment again for our back shield with Reinforced to increase the armor's value by 15% just to give us a little bit more tankiness on our back bar. Over into Monster Helm, I am running the Engine Guardian set with max Stam enchantment on this one with the infused trait, just increase that amount of Stam that we have with this. Now the Engine Guardian set adds 124 health recovery, which is not all overly important since of things, but let's say we're running our Bewitched Sugar Skull, we definitely would benefit from it then. Now, the main reason we run this is whenever we use an ability, we have a 25% chance to summon a Dwemer Abomination to restore 531 Stam or Magicka or 2,100 health to us every half a second for 6 seconds, and this can occur once every 10 seconds. So this is just trying to keep our resources up, trying to keep us in the fight, making it a lot easier for you guys out there. If you don't want to use this, and let's say, like I said, if you want to use Third Raccoon here to apply that minor main, you can use that there, and then switch out your Deep Slash to Heroic Slash to get more ulti on there, you can. For the chest, we are running Ebon as our final set. We have max Stam enchantment with Reinforce, and Stam with our legs will also be the Reinforced trait. Yes, I do have Reinforce on the feet here, but I would actually prefer this Sturdy. And we will have max stam on the legs and chest here, with Magicka enchantment on all the smaller pieces, which would be shoulder, waist, hands, and feet. And like I said, I would prefer actually have sturdy also as the trait that we run on our small pieces as well. Same with the feet. We are running sturdy on the hands and the waist and the shoulders from Engine Guardian. So with Eben's set here, this gives us 1,100 max health. 3 pieces gives us another 1,100 max health, and for 4 pieces add 4% healing taken. So this allows, when people are healing us, we actually get more healing done to us, basically is what that means. Now, nice thing about Eben is this increases our max health by 965 for us and up to 11 group members within 28 meters. If this was golded out, it would be 1,000 health. Now, why are we running Eben on this? Eben is a very good starter set, especially for new tanks out there, but the main reason we actually want to run this on a Warden tank is because, like I was talking about earlier with our passives all the way back up into this green balance skill line, the one that actually can apply minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10%. Now, just keep that in mind. Eben increases your allies' health by 965 at purple quality. So now that's going to your allies. By healing your allies, you're giving them minor toughness, which is increasing their max health. Their max health, you just gave them now 965 max health by 10%. So, like I was saying earlier, if we are running, if this was golded out, if Eben was golded out and it was 1,000, essentially whenever you heal somebody, you are essentially giving your group members 1,100 health. On this build is what you're essentially giving your group members. You're giving them 1,100 health if you can buff them up with a heal. That can go a long way. But 1,100 health is not a lot. You'd be surprised what 1,100 health can do. And on top of it, it's 11 other group members. So if you can hit 11 group members, including yourself, with 1,100 health, you just, now 12, now you times that by 12. That's how much health you actually have given out. It's a lot of health. It's not 12,000 health. It's like 13,200 health is what you just gave out to the group. That's why I run Eben. Eben is such a strong set on a Warden. Now, jewelry is also the Shackle Breaker. I am running 1 stam recovery enchantment with 2 Magicka enchantments on the rings here, with healthy trait just to increase my health pool. Like I said earlier, I like my health pool at 40k just because it's required for our guilds there. Now, over into champion points. Starting off in the tower. Green Tree, we have 56 points into Warlord to reduce the cost of break free. 9 into Sprinter to reduce the cost of sprint. Bash Focus to reduce the cost of bash. In the Lover Tree, we have 43 points into Tenacity here. This is to increase the Magicka and stamina of our fully charged heavy attacks, which it will be only stamina because we only have stam based weapons here. Over into the Shadow, we have 60 points into Tumbling, which reduces the cost of roll dodge. We have 81 points into Shadow Ward to reduce the cost of block. Starting in the Blue Tree with the Apprentice, we have 75 points into Bless to increase our healing done. 44 points into Elfborn to increase our critical damage and critical heal with Magicka based abilities. We have 1 point into Spell Erosion just to kind of hit that nice 120 here. And I had kind of nowhere other place to put it, so this increases our spell penetration. We have 2 points into Physical Weapon Expert. This increases the damage done with our light and heavy attacks for our one-handed shield abilities. Master Arms here, 31 points into that to increase our damage done with direct damage attacks. We have, in the Ritual, we have 40 points into Thaumaturge. This increases the damage done with damage over time effects. Precise Strikes, this increases our critical damage and critical heal with stamina-based abilities. We have 43 points into Mighty. This increases our physical, poison, and disease damage done. And the Red Tree, starting with the Steed, we have 72 points into Ironclad. This reduces the damage taken against direct damage attacks. In the Lady, we have 56 points all into Thick Skin, Elemental Defender, and Hardy. Thick Skin gives us reduction to damage taken from damage over time effects. Elemental Defender is reduced damage taken from flame, frost, shock, and magic damage. And Hardy is reduced damage taken from physical, poison, and disease damage. Now, if you are being damaged by an ability that is damage over time, let's say Volley or Endless Hail with the arrows, that's a damage over time effect that deals physical damage. So we will stack Thick Skin with Hardy if it's based that. Now if it's a damage over time that's Magicka based, then you stack Thick Skin with Elemental Defender here. Now if it's direct damage, we take Ironclad and stack it with, if it's physical damage, it will be Hardy. If it's any type of Magicka based damage, it will be Elemental Defender. Just keep that in mind. That's what stacks with what. Last but not least, in the Lord here, we have 15 into Quick Recovery. This increases our healing received. And we have 15 points into Heavy Armor Focus. This increases our physical resistance while wearing 5 or more pieces of heavy armor. That will wrap it up for the Paladin of Kyne. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like. Also, if you have questions or suggestions, you can ask down below in the comment section. You can also ask over on Twitch if you have more personal questions, or I should say on Twitter if you have more personal questions. I also do stream pretty regularly, so you can catch me on Twitch and come hang out and follow me if you like. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so if you could help me out, click that subscribe button. Now smash that notification bell if you want to stay up to date with my content. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.